Hey guys, so last time we ended on talking about some board games and talking about game mechanics, and this week I wanted to go into game mechanics a little bit more, talk about when you very first start a game, what are some things you want to think about when you're designing the game. So first and foremost, pretty much every game ever has a win and lose scenario. Somebody has to be able to win in order to make the game fun. But even more than that, you have to be able to lose. You have to have a challenge for the game to be fun. And so the first thing you want to think about is, how do I win the game and how do I lose the game? Take Mario, for example. You win the game by getting from the first level to the last level and saving the princess. Okay, it's pretty simple. In Tetris, you technically don't win the game. Your goal is simply to survive as long as possible, and that's okay too. But each of them also has a lose scenario. If in Mario you happen to get hit by the enemies too many times, you lose all your lives, you lose. If you fall down a pit or hit one of the other many obstacles, you're going to lose your lives. And like I said, when you lose all your lives, you die. In Tetris, if all the blocks get to the top, you lose. Simple enough. So every game has a win scenario and a lose scenario. And you would think that figuring out the win scenario automatically means you know the lose scenario, but that's not necessarily true. Take, for instance, if you had a card game and the goal of the game was to get all 52 cards into your hands, then you win. But what happens if you're playing against somebody and they take all of your cards, but they don't necessarily have all the cards? Maybe there's multiple people playing the game and only you have run out of cards. What do you do in that scenario? Does that mean you lose? Or does that mean you simply draw more cards and keep playing? So those are kind of things you want to think about first. And then once you think about that, you also want to think about it's not just straight win or lose necessarily. You want to think about what challenges you want your players to face and how they can overcome those challenges in order to win. So you want to add things in there that will help them, but you also want to add things in there that will challenge them at the same time. And so in Mario, again for instance, in Mario, the things that stop you from winning are going to be the enemies. It's going to be the obstacles that you have to jump over or dodge under or whatever. And then the things that help you to win are going to be your power-ups and your extra lives and things like that. And that's all stuff that makes the game interesting. And so you want to think about things that you can add to your game that make it interesting, that actually fit along with the game. And then following that, you also want to think about, will my game work well as a platformer? Will it work better as an RPG? Will it work better as a hack and slash? If you take, say, Mario, do you think it would work better as something other than a platformer? Do you think it would work good as an RPG? Do you think it would work good as a hack and slash? Assassin's Creed, for instance, is an action RPG. Would that work better as a platformer? Probably not. And so you really want to evaluate your game and decide which style is best for it. And again, like I said last video, you want to break your game down to its core. Final Fantasy X, its core, the thing that players are doing the most in that game, is moving the joystick around to move the character, scrolling through menus, and hitting the X button a whole bunch. Is that fun? Some people would say no, and some people would say yes, because everybody's different, and they all have different preferences. And that's okay. This is really where knowing your audience comes in. If you want to make a game for a casual gamer, then tailor it to the casual gamer, because you're not going to please everybody. If somebody's more interested in fighting games, but you're trying to make a casual game, don't try and mix the two. It's probably not going to go very well. So really tailor your games to your audience, and I know that's kind of hard to determine sometimes, but it is really something you want to think about. Honestly, I think that's it for this video. Again, if you feel like I've left anything out, or if you feel like there's another topic that I should cover, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you next time.